You can feel it, something unspoken between you and them. The glances that last a little too long, the texts that feel a little too warm, the way they always seem to show up when you need them most, but never actually say how they feel. Love doesn't always speak in words. Sometimes it hides in silence, in gestures, in the spaces between moments. Psychologists say that the mind reveals attraction long before the mouth ever admits it. In this video, we'll uncover 8 psychological signs someone secretly loves you. The subtle cues, emotional patterns, and micro behaviors that expose feelings they're too afraid to confess. Because sometimes, the truth isn't what they say, it's what they can't say. Sign 1. They find excuses to talk to you. Sometimes the way someone feels about you isn't shown through grand gestures. It's hidden in the smallest moments. They text you about something random. They ask a question they already know the answer to. They send a meme or comment on something meaningless. But the real message isn't in the words, it's in why they said them. When someone likes you, silence feels uncomfortable. They crave your presence, even if it's through a short reply, a shared laugh, or a late night. What are you doing? To them, every small talk is a bridge, a way to stay connected. It's not about the topic, it's about you. Psychologically, this happens because attraction activates the brain's reward system, the same part triggered by dopamine. Every interaction becomes a tiny hit of emotional pleasure, so they'll find any excuse to hear your voice, to see your name appear on the screen, or to keep the conversation alive, even for a few seconds longer. Next time someone starts a pointless chat that somehow never ends, pay attention. They might not be trying to talk about the weather. They're trying to feel you. Sign 2. Their conversations get personal. At first, the talks might seem casual, work, hobbies, daily routines, but slowly they start to change. They begin to ask deeper questions. What were you like as a kid? What scares you the most? What do you really want in life? When someone feels emotionally drawn to you, they want to step inside your world, not just stand at the door. They want to see the raw, unfiltered parts of you that most people never get to see. And in return, they'll start revealing pieces of themselves too. They'll tell you they're single or divorced. They'll mention someone from their past, someone you somehow remind them of. That's not random. It's a signal. Psychologically, this is called emotional disclosure. The act of sharing personal stories to create intimacy. It's a subconscious way of saying, I trust you. And trust is one of the strongest indicators of attraction. When they open up, they're not just talking, they're testing. They want to see how safe you feel, because attraction isn't just physical, it's emotional curiosity, the urge to explore another person's mind. So if someone keeps steering the conversation toward your heart instead of your schedule, it's not small talk anymore. It's connection, disguised as curiosity. Sign 3, they laugh at things no one else finds funny. You tell a joke, not your best one, and yet they laugh. Not a polite smile, not a forced chuckle, but real laughter, the kind that lights up their eyes. Even the smallest things you say seem to amuse them. Why? Because it's not about the joke, it's about you. When someone's attracted to you, their brain becomes wired to seek connection. Laughter becomes the bridge. It releases oxytocin, often called the bonding chemical, the same hormone that builds trust and emotional closeness between people. So when they laugh easily around you, their body is literally trying to get closer. Psychologists have found that we laugh most around people we're drawn to. Not because they're funny, but because laughter lowers defenses. It creates a safe space where attraction can breathe. And that's why even your worst punchlines land perfectly. They're not laughing at the joke. They're laughing because you made it. Their laughter says, I like being in your energy. So the next time someone can't stop smiling or laughing around you, even when it doesn't make sense, pay attention. It's not random. It's chemistry, and sometimes that's the loudest sign of all. Sign 4. They find ways to be physically close. They lean in when you speak. Their shoulder brushes yours. By accident. You notice the small things, how they stand a little closer than most, or how their hand lingers a moment longer when passing you something. These moments might seem casual, but they're not random. They're instinct. When someone is drawn to you, their body speaks before their mind does. It's called proximity attraction, a subconscious pull to reduce physical distance. The closer they are, the safer they feel. The more connected, the more alive. This isn't about lust or impulse. It's biology trying to bridge emotional space through physical presence. In psychology, we call this nonverbal intimacy, a light touch on the arm, a forward lean, a shared space that feels magnetic. Each gesture is the body's way of saying what words can't. I want to be near you. And here's the secret. People don't risk closeness with just anyone. When someone's feelings deepen, distance starts to feel wrong. They'll find excuses, passing you something, walking beside you, sitting closer than needed, because their energy is searching for yours. So if their nearness feels intentional, if the air between you seems charged, it probably is. Attraction doesn't always start with words. Sometimes it starts with a quiet step closer. Sign 5. Their eyes linger longer than they should. They don't need to say a word, their eyes already have. A glance that lasts a little too long, a gaze that meets yours and doesn't rush away. It's subtle, but your mind feels it instantly. Because eye contact is the oldest language of human attraction. Raw, honest, and almost impossible to fake. Psychology calls this prolonged gaze behavior. Even holding eye contact for just half a second longer than usual can signal deep interest. It activates the brain's reward system, releasing dopamine, the same chemical that fuels desire and anticipation. That's why it feels electric, like a silent exchange of energy neither of you can fully explain. But there's another sign, the one they think you won't notice. It's when they look at you when you're not looking. You catch them in a reflection or sense their gaze from across the room. That isn't coincidence. It's curiosity, fascination, and emotional attachment converging into one simple act. Watching you. In those moments, they're not just admiring how you look. They're studying how you exist, the way you move, the way you react, the way your presence affects them. So if their eyes find you in a crowded room, if every glance feels charged with something unspoken, don't ignore it, because sometimes the eyes confess what the lips never dare to say. Sign 6, they mirror your body language. You lean forward, so do they. You touch your face, suddenly they do too. It's not imitation, it's instinct, a subconscious rhythm between two people whose energies are beginning to align. Psychologists call it the chameleon effect, an automatic response where we mimic the gestures, tone, or posture of someone we're emotionally drawn to. It's how the brain says, I feel safe with you. I want to connect. When attraction builds, the body starts syncing without permission. Breathing patterns match, movements fall into the same tempo, even micro-expressions begin to mirror each other. It's subtle, but it's powerful. Because mirroring builds rapport, it deepens emotional resonance. You might notice them leaning in when you do, or smiling right after you smile. They may even start using your phrases or speaking at your rhythm. None of this is forced. It's chemistry trying to create harmony. In essence, their body is saying what their words can't. I'm in tune with you. That's why when two people truly connect, silence doesn't feel awkward. It feels synchronized. So pay attention. If their movements start to mirror yours, if you feel a strange sense of flow when you're together, that's not coincidence. That's attraction revealing itself through the quiet language of the body. Sign 7. They remember the small details. It's the little things they never forget. Your favorite song, how you take your coffee, or that random story you told at 1 a.m. that you barely remember yourself. When someone is genuinely drawn to you, their mind becomes a quiet recorder of your world. Not because they're trying to impress you, but because you matter. Psychologists call this selective attention, when the brain unconsciously prioritizes what it finds emotionally important. To them, your words aren't background noise, they're signals. Each detail becomes a thread connecting them to you. That's why they remember things others don't. Your favorite restaurant, your pet's name, the kind of day you said you love most. It's not memory, it's emotional focus. You've taken up space in their mind, not as a passing thought, but as a constant presence. Even the smallest details, the way you laugh, the phrases you use, become stored reminders of who you are. And when they bring those details up later, casually, naturally, it's their way of saying, I've been paying attention. Because love and attraction aren't proven in grand gestures. They hide in the subtleties, in how someone remembers the tiniest things about you when the rest of the world forgets. So if they notice what no one else does, it's not coincidence. It's care, disguised as curiosity. And it's one of the clearest signs they feel something deeper than they admit. Sign 8, they protect your feelings, even when they don't have to. Pay close attention to how someone treats you when emotions get tense. If they pause before they speak, if they soften their tone instead of raising it, that's not weakness. That's care in its purest form. When someone truly feels something for you, they become emotionally attuned, subconsciously aware of your comfort, your reactions, your silence. Psychologists call this empathic accuracy, the ability to sense what another person feels without words. It's what makes them choose kindness even when it's easier to win an argument. You'll notice they avoid saying things that could sting, even if it would make them right. They listen when you're upset. They try to understand instead of defend, because their goal isn't to win, it's to make sure you're okay. True affection isn't loud. It's not grand or dramatic. It's quiet, hidden in moments where someone could hurt you, but doesn't. Where they protect your feelings, not because they have to, but because they want to. That's the kind of love that feels safe, the kind that doesn't demand attention, but earns trust. And if someone treats your heart like fragile glass, careful, gentle, always aware, it's because, in their own way, they already know they're holding it.